So let's see. This week, I think I've only watched technically 3 or 4 things. I know it's going to show up as like 4 things on my anime list whenever I finally get around to updating that. Anyway, first of all, I finally finished Fighting Spirit. That one's been taking a long time because I've been watching it with another person, which basically means that as distractions come up, anime you're watching together kind of doesn't happen at the same time unless you watch it on your own. But in my case, it's usually not a good idea to do that because I've got so many to watch. Anyway, we focused on finishing all the Fighting Spirit, and it was pretty satisfying. I mean, there is still the problem where there's a big fight that has not happened, because it's kind of open-ended. There's definitely plenty of room for the second season, which is either airing now or is completely aired now or something like that. Unless this first one was multiple seasons, in which case it is whatever is the sequel to Championship Road on MyAnimeList. In any case, very satisfying. Fighting Spirit was very satisfying, and the Championship Road OVA was pretty good. A very, very much higher animation budget for sure, and I think the animation was also clearer, sharper, rather the drawing style. I guess it's mostly interesting to note that because a lot of the stuff that happens in there just appears far more brutal, and it got pretty brutal in the original Fighting Spirits, so I think that says a lot. Let's see, I also finished Hellgirl Season 3. Part 2, of course, but that, of course, finishes Season 3. Now, it didn't turn out as epic as I was thinking it was going to be, but it was definitely surprising and entertaining. I don't know if I can go into much more detail without spoiling it, though. So basically, I'll just leave it at that. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it was an ending to Hellgirl per se, because they left it in a place where there could be a 4th season if we wanted one. I don't know. And the other thing I did was I watched Birdie the Mighty Decode Part 1. And that's pretty much, I guess it's a complete season. I have to check to see if maybe Decode is 2 seasons and 2 separate entries or whatnot. But the basic idea is they definitely told a complete story in this first part. And I'm going to get to the second part later. Overall, I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Although, going to it expecting some of the same neatness from the original Birdie the Mighty, I realized it doesn't quite live up to all of the spirit of the first one. Maybe it lives up to it in the second season or whatnot, so it's really difficult to make any final judgments in that regard. But at a minimum, the original one kind of set up the same idea where Birdie and the Earth guy, whose name I can't remember. Well, they're sharing the same body, right? In the original Birdie the Mighty, some of the neatness was his being able to assist her while being in that state. Whereas Birdie the Mighty Decode, it has a more expanded universe than the original Birdie the Mighty. It had a much bigger cast, but it kind of is one of those anime where the main character is mostly going along for the ride. He doesn't have a whole lot of control over what might happen here and there. Now, I can't go into too much more detail there without accidentally saying spoilers, but needless to say, that was one interesting thing that didn't get carried forward, and I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing so much as just a different thing, and some people might not like difference. So, I mentioned last week that The Melancholy of Hari-chan Suzumi and Yoran Churuya-san Volume 2 looked like it was coming out. That's because DVD Aficionado has a release date of the 2nd of this month. Having gone over, looked around a bit, it looks like that's actually got maybe more of a March release next year. So, that's what I get for figuring these things out at the very last minute. Otherwise, next week's release is looking kind of small, so there's a good possibility that it may be as small or underwhelming as this week's release. I apologize in advance for that, but it's Christmas season, and this year I'm buying presents for friends and family again, and I got all my Christmas shopping done, but the bank account took a huge hit doing that. That's unfortunate, but you know, as next week comes, since it'll be the day before our paycheck hits, I should have a pretty good idea if I'm able to get additional stuff, maybe. So, sorry in advance if it's a bit small, and I guess you can make up for it, or make me make up for it by giving me a bunch of inside the box stuff. Thanks for your choices this week. It was a lot of stuff, but it was stuff in some of the more easily accessible parts of the collection, so it was not that hard to dig them out, and even easier to put them back once I found them. I mean, where the hell did I keep Straight Jacket? It's just one DVD in a 2 to 4,000 DVD collection. Unfortunately, it was in one of the piles I had already moved, so I could find it. Anyway, I guess you can consider that an invitation. Otherwise, hopefully it won't be too underwhelming a release next week, I guess. Oh, we'll see then. I'll see you then.